it is recording as a video, and you guys will get this full video back. It does record the audio as well, so the person that's holding this, we're going to hear your commentary all night long. So, has anybody ever used one of these before? Or seen one of these? Alright, so, you guys can see me in that picture, right? I'm orange, red, and yellow. That means I'm the warmest thing in the picture. Now, everything behind me should be blue and black. Okay, so obviously this is set to black, cold, white, hot. So we're looking for black or dark blue spots to start moving on their own. It's cold spots. It's the old adage that goes create cold spots. So we're literally trying to find those cold spots. So if something blue comes across my face, it's obviously not me, correct? So that's basically what we're looking for. Now, Justin, I think we're going to go with you on this guy. You seem like you're like really in tune with what's happening with this. So you're going to hold this guy horizontal all night long. And you see the red square on there? On the left-hand side of your screen? That means that it's recording. If you hit it by accident, just tap it again and let me know. It'll turn to a circle. That just means I have to splice some video together for you, and it takes way longer, and then you'll be the jerk, and then they have to wait on their data, and no, I'm kidding. So just try not to hit it. It's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah, sure.
So, all right. So, we're going to be using many different types of devices.
Right up your alley.
What's that?
This is right up his alley.
We're going to find something to keep you just as intrigued, I'm sure. Spirit boxes. So how many of you actually watch the ghost hunting TV shows? You know, the ones that are
I've watched a little bit.
Yeah, like a couple minutes here and there.
They're pretty much bullshit. I'm just going to put it out there. It's about 50 to 75% made up for TV. And you also have to remember that those guys spend not just like one night at those places. They're spending days, if not weeks, there to try to capture the small bit of evidence that they're trying to give you in a 20-minute spot, because the other 10-minute is commercial. So, again, they're spending that much time. But we're going to use different types of spirit boxes here tonight. So this one in particular is really cool. So who doesn't know what a spirit box is? I guess let me start there.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what that
Oh, perfect. Okay, so the whole group, except for Whitney.
No, I don't either.
I thought you were
Just
going to
always
be the
throw
only
me,
one.
throw me in with not knowing any of this.
All right, so spirit boxes, think of it as a radio sweeper. It's going to sweep through all of the FM radio stations at a quick rate. Okay, so it's going to go, it's that annoying static sound that you hear on your ghost TV shows. I have this set up much slower. I want the radio chatter to come through. What does that mean? The DJs, the song lyrics, the commercials, you're going to get little snippets of it as it flips through all of the radio stations. In the event we can actually hear a phrase or a word out of there clearly, it's a 50-50 chance that it was a message from something that's going on around us, or somebody that's hanging out, or a story that I'm telling, or so forth and so on. Okay? So I'm going to turn it on. The cool thing about this guy is it doesn't record any outside noise. It only records the radio sweep even when it's on mute. So even when we can't hear it, it's still recording. You're going to get the full recording back. I'm going to give you about 5 to 10 spots of things that I hear, whether they're relevant or not, just to kind of help you learn and train yourself on how to listen to this thing, because it can be difficult to listen to.
Xbox. Scanning. FM.
I know it sounds like Xbox.
I know
doesn't
Xbox.
It? It's Xbox. All right, so. Try to get to some stations that aren't all static. Great song.
Serious Internet.
Serious Internet. You guys see where I'm getting that stuff from? So again, it's a 50-50 chance that it might actually be a message. And again, we'll figure out what those things are. If we don't hear things in real time, I'm still going to review this recording in the morning. I actually usually give this to 2 different people, so the 2 of you have to listen and verify each other.
Okay.
So you have one button to go through. It's a turnstile wheel right here. Obviously when I'm talking, we want to keep it down. It's already recording. All you have to do is worry about the volume.
Okay. Yeah, listen to it.
Ooh, there's somebody right on your shoulder.
Give me
So we're going to stick with spirit boxes for a second. This one in particular is a little different. It doesn't record. It does the exact same thing. It sweeps through all the FM radio stations, but we have to take the person's word for it who actually has it, because it doesn't record and I can't verify it the next day. We're actually going to give this one off to you for 2 reasons. First off, we need to make a believer out of you. Second, his video does record audio, so if as long as you 2 stick together, then we'll be able to hear what you hear. So this guy, I'm going to turn. There's one volume button for you to worry about, and it's a toggle switch right here at the top. You keep tapping it to the left to turn it up, you toggle it to the right, you got to keep tapping it to get it to turn down. So again, you can almost control it with your hand too. So, and again, this one kind of pops open, so try not to, and it's Velcroed on there, it's not going to come off. So I'll let you play with the volume button and see if you can figure out how to get it to go all the way down, just so you get used to using it.
Doing that on itself? All myself?
Marty, was it?
Yeah.
All right. So Marty is going to be the first indicator that something is actually happening. Okay. So this is an electromagnetic field meter. So what does this measure? Electromagnetic fields. So there are 3 different types. They use these on your TV shows as well. However, they never explain how they actually work. The first one is natural. It comes from the earth. It's why it's not doing anything right now. The second one it's going to measure is from electronic devices. So that's going to make it go into a pulse. We don't want that either. And when I say electronic devices, that could be parking meters, wiring, cell phones, so forth and so on. And when I say cell phone, like it would literally have to be right on top of it. Okay, so same thing. And I'm going to let you guys know when we can determine if something is actually hanging out with us or it's something that's man-made around us. The third thing is where it's going to go a little bit crazy. We want that a little bit crazy to actually be happening. It doesn't make any noise, nor does it vibrate. You just have to watch the lights and let us know when you see something.
Yeah, we did that, I think, at St. Augustine.
Yeah, that's a pretty common tool.
He was sitting next to an electrical outlet when he was just like very young, and they were talking about it, and this thing was going off like crazy. Like, whoa! Then she told us about the electricity right next to us that we couldn't see.
I don't think this is going down.
That's okay.
Am I? Is that weird?
So try to make it go up. See if you can get it to go up. Push it the opposite way. You gotta keep tapping it, remember?
It got louder.
Yeah. I mean, I've been this whole time. So I'm going up, right? To the left is up.
Yep. That's a newer speaker for us. Let me see if I can. Alright, it's not going up or down. That's super great. Now there it went down.
There it went down. That's going up.
There we go. So it might be the loudest we can get it. Just as long as it's audible to you. We're not going to be in high traffic areas anyway. So
Okay.
I'll let you turn that back down again. Alright.
So we're going to hear voices on this?
You'll hear voices on there as well. So here I have the neuralizer from Men in Black. I need you all to stare right here. It's a grid pen.
Oh my.
Now, lasers help us see things that we can't see with the naked eye as well. So, can't see anything from the laser to the ground until something passes through it. So, literally what we're looking for here is something that literally passed through it. Okay? Lasers can get Nick in a lot of trouble, so these don't normally go to kids. No offense, guys. I don't know what your ages are. But,
Oh, I get the neuralizer.
yes.
Dude, I'm-
Lasers get pointed straight down and about 5 feet out in front of you only. That's about as far as you're going to go. So
Okay.
literally what you're looking for is it's going to pass by just like that.
Oh, my. I don't want to see it. That means it's 5 feet close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Micros are friendly. We're good. This is not a malevolent, scary tour, in case you were wondering.
Okay, good.
It's more as of a scientific.
I like science. Good.
This one, go ahead and shut yours off for a sec. This one gives us red squares. So what's so cool about this one is in the event we actually capture something here between video and the pictures that we're going to take, then we can put it in 3D software and you have a full 3D view of what you actually caught.
What, that records?
No.
Wait, do it again. I missed it.
So
Oh,
His video
to there. Oh, I got you.
and Emily's going to get the camera. We're going to teach her how to use a
Okay,
camera.
okay.
So, in the event we capture that picture, then we'll be able to see that full 3D view of what we caught and measure it to see how big it actually was.
That's so
You get
cool.
both.
Oh gosh, wait, what? That's a lot
That's,
right here.
I know.
Okay.
That's a toggle switch.
Like
That one's just the button you have to hold on.
Like you have to catch it all.
Just watch where you
Good
point.
Luck. It's
Don't point at the same
You
time.
save lives every day, so you can
If you're gonna make a
button.
believer out of me, you gotta catch it.
There's 2 different kinds of buttons. That's
Yeah.
the problem.
I'm gonna switch hands.
So, I normally don't give these to kids either, so, but because they don't know what they are. It's a digital camera.
You might be able to write down. That's funny.
They normally don't. So,
She's in photography class, so she might get extra
oh,
credit.
perfect. So this is where we're careful because there's vehicles around.
Okay.
So, again, that could land Nick in jail. That's how careful you need to be.
Why?
There's a laser line in Charleston.
Okay, don't point laser
And you
tag.
shoot it up, and it's a federal law.
Yeah.
Helicopter pilots and plane pilots.
So, and we're, near airport bases and everything else. So, digital camera, Emily, this does not have a flash on it for a reason. Okay, so my wife does all of the graphic design and photography work for Stories in the Cemetery. If I send her a picture of a building that has a bunch of flash windows on it, she's going to smack me in the face and say, what the hell were you thinking? So we don't want flash at all. We don't want any false positives. The other reason when it's actually, because it has no flash, when you're taking these pictures, you have, of course, you have to be very still so that they're not blurry all the time. Go ahead and point one of your lasers down for me. So really what you're going to be doing is you're not going to be taking pictures of the lasers directly. You're going to want to go through it. Okay, so there's one picture, and we want to see if we can capture anything that's actually passing through it that she might be missing. So I know, lots of very scientific stuff. I also have different thermometers for in the event that Justin sees something through his camera that I can debunk or prove. I do have a surface temperature gun, which you guys should all know what those are by now, but I also have a psychrometer, which measures ambient temperature. So in the event that he says, hey Nick, there's a blue spot on the wall, I can't figure out what it is, I'm going to do a surface temperature first to make sure the whole thing matches up. If it doesn't...
No, I can't shoot it up there.
No. Why would you shoot it?
I know it.
I want to find the cold spot. The cold spot's not going to show up other than there. So then the psychrometer, I can move it between Justin and the wall and find out where that cold spot actually is. So that way we can prove if it's from the building or the building itself. So I'm going to use a few things myself, and I promise we're going to get moving here shortly. Like I said, it's a lot of teaching training. Whitney's like, man, that dude talks a lot. Shut him up already. He talks.
But we're learning something. We learned something here today.
Alright, so the first thing I'm going to use is a spirit box on my phone that actually gives us words in the center of the screen, and then it's going to save them to a list. Okay, now this is last night's list. They had 67 terms. We're going to clear them out because they already have theirs. 80% of this list is absolute bullshit. Doesn't mean a thing.
Okay.
The app is meant to be a game or a hoax. I am going to give you that. It's the other 5 to 20% where I will show you, tell you in your data why it's relevant, and then give you the verifiable link of where I get my data from. So if it's Eliza Pinckney was 22 years old when she got married and it's the number 22, I'm also going to give you the link for her birthday because it's also her birthday, December 22nd. So do you kind of see where that kind of matches up? I'm going to give you why it's relevant.
Okay.
The second thing I'm going to use is a reverse spirit box. So what is that exactly? Is that as far down as you can make that thing go?
Oh, and you don't toggle it. If you hold it down, it goes down.
Really?
Like that.
No wonder I haven't been able to use it. Like I said, it's new for me. I haven't played with it a whole lot. I gave it to my daughter and said, make sure this thing works. If not, I gotta send it back to Amazon. So she told me you have to toggle it. So I'm taking her word for it. So a reverse spirit box, they claim that it was the FM radio stations being played backwards. I called BS. I threw it in the software that I have to analyze EVPs, and I played it forwards. It is literally just a man and a woman saying random words. I don't know how long the loop is. I tested it for over an hour and did not hear the same word twice. I'm going to turn it on so you guys get the gist of what it is, because you're only going to hear that on my audio. So on your regular audio piece is where you're going to hear it. This is how I communicate, and then I'll kind of give you a gist of how it actually works. So it's going to sound like gibberish. I'll go down the whole thing. Again, a little creepy, but it's effective. So, everybody kind of has the gist that it sounds like garbage, right? An EVP I caught a few months ago actually came out clear as day. This is that same app that you just heard.
Baked beans breakfast?
Baked beans breakfast. So here's what happened. Your spirit box said, I'll fix you, baked beans breakfast, and then that word list gave me the word tea, all within 2 minutes of each other. I'll fix you, baked beans breakfast, and tea. That is a breakfast over in the UK. I was speaking about a woman from England in the 1700s when that all occurred. I caught the baked beans breakfast in real time. I obviously looked at the data as I collected the next morning to catch I'll fix you, and then the word tea afterwards. But you put it all together, you have a full sentence. Do you guys see why I look at this as a collected the next morning?
Wow.
I also give you the full word list, even though that most of it's going to be pretty much garbage, because you guys might find something in there that's relatable to you that I don't know anything about. For example, I get text messages all the time from people that says, hey, my cat's name is Radar. And cat and Radar were right next to each other. I don't know what your cat's name is, but that's the kind of things that happen all the time. I do get a lot of emails and texts that somebody finds something within the data that's relevant to them and to them only.
How do ghosts know that?
Couldn't tell you. I'm not a Google for the paranormal. I may know a lot. I'm just, I get these kids. They're like 6, 7 years old, and they want to Google me all day long. So, where do people go when they die? Why don't they go to the cemetery? Blah, blah, blah. All right, so we start here for a reason. We start here because the building that you guys are close to, that you're not necessarily leaned on, probably for a reason, is because it's haunted.
Okay.
This place used to be called Big John's Tavern back in the 1970s. Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. Now, Big John, oh, that's interesting. So I'll explain when we get there.
Okay.
So Big John, he used to sit in the back of the bar and he would nod off to the bartender if the cadets from the Citadel that used to come over were of age or not. One night, 2 guys came over, they weren't of age. Big John tells the bartender, cut them off. They get pretty pissed off, they leave. They come back the next night, they try to steal the cash register from the front. Big John sees what's going on, they get into a little rough and tumble. A couple shots were fired. John gets shot in the neck. Yeah, the bullet ricochets and it lands in the wall. Big John gets up, he goes back to the bar, looks at the bartender, says, get me a beer, get him an ambulance. Now, I just told you a story where nobody died. It's the bullet hole that's still here that haunts the place. There's paranormal activity attached to it. It's said that people that sit in front of the bar start to not feel well, nauseous, dizzy, headache, any of those kind of slightly I don't feel good type mentalities. I bring this up on purpose because I don't know how paranormal activity is going to affect any of you and how it's going to affect me. But if any of you are feeling any of those things, I need to know. I don't say this as a scary part of the tour, because I just told you it's not a scary tour. I say it as a health precaution. The first time somebody passed out on one of my tours, I was in CPR class the next day, and it wasn't the last time that it happened. Luckily, I always have a nurse always on board, and in those other times, they were able to help out. So, again, it's a very big deal to me. If you've taken any kind of history tour in Charleston, you know we had a big earthquake in 1886, okay? It's a big one for Charleston because we don't get earthquakes. This is allegedly where the first death occurred. A piece of the mantle that's above your heads also wraps around the front of the building, and a piece of it broke off, struck somebody in the head, and killed him. So, you're good. With that being said, I don't have any verifiable proof of that. It's just from the previous bar owner where he used to see dark shadows out here, and a historian that I'm friends with told me the story that this was the first death of that earthquake. So, you guys ready to go ghost hunting?
Let's do it.
Yep.
You guys tired of hearing me talk yet?
No.
Whitney's like, yes.
No.
I'm sorry,
I don't know if I'm doing this correctly. Just FYI. Yep.
So-
I have it loud enough where I can hear it. I'm
when
listening.
when I say spirit box is up, like trust me, because I'm going to talk through the stories first.
Okay.
The first location we're going to go to, I'm going to tell you is kind of a deeper training. So it's a place for me to bounce around with all of you, and it has a haunted history, but it's not very long and in depth like the big long 20-minute spiel I just gave you. So it's a chance for me to show you more about your device, and then we're going to learn some real history right after that. So let's head down this way.
Okay.
And we all lucked out with parking tonight. That's where I am. I don't always get a side street.
Yeah, side street spot.
Yeah.
Got the prime parking tonight.
Oh, that's Sunday. I do have a 20% chance of rain, which doesn't mean anything. Like, my wife's like, she left for work today, and she's like, it feels like it's gonna rain later. I'm like, yeah, it's 20%, I'll be fine. So, welcome to the Red Barn lot. So the reason why I said I'll explain later is the first word that pops up for you guys is the word barn. Okay? So, I already have 4 terms: barn, real, pride, and north. And we're not quite in North Charleston, but I'm going to take barn as a direct relative of as to where we were going. So, Marty, you've already got some activity going on, which is good. You did, unless your cell phone's in your right pocket.
Nope. Left pocket.
Oh, my Lanta. Should I just poke the laser
That's
down?
lighting up like a Christmas tree, like what we're looking for. Good. All right, so where are we standing? This is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides. Okay, so the horses are still in that red barn. We are not going to be putting any lasers on that building, which is also why I give all the lasers to one person, so I can keep an eye on them.
That's marketing.
and to an adult. So this is also the same red barn where we kept the horses that delivered milk to Charleston. If that dates it for you, 1860s to 1920s is my guesstimate. There's no history there. That's all I have. But the place is haunted because we're going to get hopefully some contact from Big John's teammates or Big John himself, maybe a stable boy from the delivery horses from before, but we're going to talk about your devices a little bit further. So those of you with spirit boxes, let's start there. This is not your TV shows where we're going to be going after, hey Johnny, why'd you kill Billy kind of mentality. We're not here to provoke anything. That's not how the real life ghost hunting life goes. So you're going to start off with a question you already know the answer to. So I usually give the example of, we all know that the barn is red. We already have a reference to the barn, which is good. So you're going to literally ask, what color is the barn? There's only one answer to that. There's no deviating away from the color red. Am I correct on that? You guys can all see that it's red?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the event you don't get an answer after listening for 30 seconds or so, Marty double checked me. Did you all see that? He turned around and said, maybe it's purple today.
Yeah.
So
Well, in our family, we would fight about the color shade of red it was, so that's why I was
I'm
already
going very
gaining.
bland, ragey bib colors only. So
That thing's going off like crazy.
yeah, it's
So,
good.
real quick, how does the word thing work?
This guy?
Yeah, I didn't understand the words that
So it's sweeping through FM stations,
Uh-huh.
but it's meant to be a game and a hoax. Like, it's programmed to spit out a word once every 3 to 5 minutes or so.
are okay.
But again, I get stuff in between that we're able to determine if it's legit, like the word
To
barn.
us,
I
yeah.
don't think I've ever seen the word barn come up on there. I use this thing every day for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Literally. So I know the words that, will come through and cycle through. When I see something I don't recognize, first off, or relative to where we are,
Yeah.
we honestly have a direct relation to that. So, and the fact that he's got an EMF right now, that's at least 2 devices that are getting me
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
To show me that we're going to get something else here.
And this is electromagnetic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, 2, 3, 4 tries after saying what color is the barn and you don't get an answer. First off, you don't need to talk into the box. They're not in your device. It's a conversation with a person that once was. Okay, you want to tell me what color the barn is? Tell me what's inside the barn. Now we just opened it up to a whole realm of clues, because we know that they're horses. That's our first thought. But they're also animals. They're draft horses. They delivered milk to Charleston, and they delivered milk. So we have delivery, milk, draft, animal, anything that could relate to a horse that we can find as a clue that would be relatable. You gotta remember, they're sweeping through FM radio stations. It's kind of like Bumblebee from Transformers. It's using the radio voice to talk to us. It doesn't matter the gender. It doesn't matter what type of phrase it might be, as long as they can find the one word or phrase that they can get out of it. Because, for example, it might be black belt, and we were looking for hey, what color's my shirt? And it's black. But you heard black belt. I'll still take black, that they use that as part of the phrase to tell us that my shirt is black. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, so thermal imaging. I'm going to be working with you first, just to kind of show you a few extra tricks with that thing. As far as pictures, the 2 of you are obviously a duo, so
yeah.
you guys need to, the rule of thumb as well too is that none of y'all can be in the pictures. You guys didn't sign legal waivers for that. I don't do legal. If somebody does end up in a picture, as far as facial recognition, I will cut it or crop it if there is paranormal activity inside the picture. So just kind of know that for sure. Don't be taking selfies, because I will chop them out. It does happen. It happened last night, as a matter of fact. I cut out 4 selfies. There was a couple like, hey, take a picture of me. And I'm like, guys. So, but yeah, definitely keep your lasers down and about 5 feet out in front of you. Go ahead and start wandering the lot. And this isn't a wave them around. It's not a light show. It's literally as slow as you can walk. And you're going to be taking pictures
You can walk slow.
How much pictures is it?
as many as you want.
Do I just keep taking pictures?
Okay.
Where's the button?
So 500 pictures is not fun for Nick. 2 to 300 is fine.
Okay.
500, because I upload them to Facebook. You guys have your own folder on Facebook. That way you guys can download them. And then, because 500 pictures of Facebook takes like 2 hours to upload. 2 to 300 I can have done in 15 minutes. I don't know what the difference is. So,
Wow. Just one in the parking lot?
I lost your name already.
Ryan.
Ryan, go ahead and turn up your spirit box. Start doing your question and answer. Hang out with Marty. I don't know what the dynamic is here. Sorry. Is it mom, dad, kids?
Yeah.
Okay. I hate
I'm
to assume
hoping.
anything. Because I'm damn near close to being a grandfather, if you could guess it or not. But yeah, the 2 of you kind of pair up, find those red hot spots, and that way you know when to start asking your questions. I'm going to take the 2 of you first. So if the 2 of you want to come with me this way,
I can't tell.
this is what you guys signed up for. He's like, "Why? You're."
This is what he signed up for.
were you
I'm missing the Cowboys game right now, so.
Well, here's what I'll tell you. So I'm not a football guy at all. One night I have the name Tom come up in this lot 3 times, 3 different spirit boxes, two spirit boxes. I don't remember what it was. Again, not a football guy. Then I get the word coach on my screen, and then I get the word cowboy on somebody else's spirit box. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I go home, I do my research. Tom Landry used to play with Big John in 1948. I had no idea who the hell Tom Landry was. But again, I knew the name as somebody famous. I just didn't know who he was or what he did. Of course, former football Dallas Cowboy coach. So I was kind of like, okay, that must be cool for somebody. I could tell that story later.
Yeah.
So there you go. I gave it to you. As far as your camera, bring it over here for me.
Okay.
So you're going to have a ton of different types of material in here, but I'm going to prove a point first. So tell me what you see on your screen right now.
It's like reddish.
A bunch of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's kind of
not much
flickers a
blue at
little
all?
bit. And you can see the grout of the brick. Yeah. Now
Watch
it's blue.
Okay, so now you have a fluctuation of color.
Right.
You're going to try to keep a person in your screen at all times.
Okay.
Why is that? So you can have that fluctuation of color. You want to be able to see when things are moving around when they're not supposed to. Those white
Gotcha.
outlines that you see on things, like me and my hat and my face, and you know, those are to help you see 3D because the camera can't see 3D. Okay, so it takes those white lines and it puts it in between heat signatures where they're different. So it kind of helps you see what those objects are.
Okay.
So you have another great reason why I start people here with this camera is that you have a ton of different types of material. Metal, asphalt, brick, foliage, you have a wood fence over there. You
Right.
literally have probably 5 to 7 different elements here. You're going to learn a lot about thermodynamics. So I am going to show you, is it somebody's birthday? None of your birthday?
Nope.
She's like, no.
Well,
okay.
no, yours is coming up, actually.
How far?
Like a week.
It's kind of a stretch. I'll ask them too. I just got the word
Oh,
birthday.
well,
That's
and
not a term I
Peyton's
see
was
often.
2 days ago.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So to give you a gist of what you're looking for on here, bring up the video.
That's
Sorry.
weird.
And
Our daughter's birthday was 2 days ago.
I hate to ask, but is she still living?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to ask.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's rude, but it's my job at this point.
Right.
She was when we left home this morning.
Let's stop there. Alright, so this video is in our next location that we're going to. The orange that you see here is a wall. So you see 2 living people, their heads above the wall, correct? Did you see them come by?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to fast forward a little bit. You're going to see 2 dead people going the opposite way.
Oh, the blue?
Yeah, so it was almost black. Now this person right here is always in view. So they technically should be the same color. So he should come into view with his face right there, and then there's our 2 black heads that walk by. Now, they called me up to that corner because they felt the shadow or thought they seen the shadow, so I went up there to go debunk some things, trying to like watch the cars, and maybe they reflected off a light or something along that. And I was like, let me just review the video the next morning. Boom, there it is. So again, I clipped it out. That's perfect evidence that I can prove time and time again that stuff does happen with this camera. Now, again, I'm not going to say that that's my most active thing in the world, but it gives me audio and a nice video for you guys to watch later on. So,
Yeah.
again, you're going to kind of wander around nice in circles. You're going to do your question and answer thing. I'm sure he's going to want to help you with that because she's like, I don't want to ask
And you
this
know what
thing
to do with that?
question.
Asking
Yeah.
what is
What color is the barn?
Oh,
Yeah, so start there and see what happens. If you get the color red, move on. Go to what color is your shirt. It's
like if
not a
she
solid pattern.
hears red come out of that? Yeah.
All right.
So I want you to also keep in mind too, if you're asking questions, the answer can go anywhere. His audio, my 2 spirit boxes, or theirs. That's 6 points of audio. We don't know where it's going to go. A lot of times, if we separate a little bit, like we will in the next lot, and like we are right now, I might say, hey, tell me what color these poles are. And they're going to turn around and say, it just said yellow. You now have the verifiable evidence that I asked the question, they got the answer. I do it
Okay.
all the time. It happens all the time. So,
Okay.
again, have some fun with it. Open your mind up a little
I'm
bit.
trying really hard.
I gotta have you in my view at all times. What, you're going around asking questions?
What color is the barn? What is inside the barn? Who Who is inside the barn?
Ooh, that's a good one.
It said something, but I don't know what it was.
Turn it up. Hold it. There you go.
Should I ask again?
Yeah.
What color is the barn? What is inside the barn? Do they sell anything in the barn?
What color is the bar?
Huh?
What color is the bar? That's a bar, right? I don't know. What is the barn made of?
What is the barn made of? When was the last time the bar was being used?
The bar or the barn?
When was the last time the barn was being used? How many windows are on the barn? I don't know what the right answer is, 'cause I don't know.
I think there's 10.
Is there anything currently living in the barn? No. I guess. Maybe that's what it
Let's
said.
go ask questions about this place.
What color is the brick on the bar painted? When was the last time the bar was being used by customers?
When was the last person to die in the barn? Hey, you
Has
could.
anyone ever died in the bar? I don't understand it. How many rooms are in the bar?
Let's get what color the bar is.
What color is the bar?
Is there anyone in the bar?
Is there anyone in the bar? I don't know. Maybe it said no.
Just keep asking questions.
I'm trying to think of something. What color is the trash can?
Yeah. Did you get anything yet?
I feel like an idiot. I feel like I can't understand or
And
it
that's
does
okay.
come in there.
And that's perfectly okay. I don't want you to feel like an idiot. It's very
Like I feel like
difficult.
it comes on and something's said or.
Do you want me to
yeah.
slow it down a little bit? Would that help?
Oh, maybe.
Okay, I can do that. Move into the light.
She's trying to come up with questions too.
That's the hard part. I feel like I ask the same question in a different way every time.
A little bit slower for you. And the next place that we go to, I'm not going to give you questions that you know the answers to. So you're literally just going to be listening. So I'll give you some really good questions, but they're like historical things about the people that live there. So it's going to be like, I already told you Eliza Pinkham was 22 when she got married, but it'll be like, hey, you can ask Eliza how old she was when she got married. You have no idea what the hell that number is. You're going to come up to me and say, I said 23. I'm like, close. You know, it's just those, I don't want you to have that suggestive thought.
Okay.
Here, it's a little different. This is where you need to learn what your device does. I'm going to give you guys a few more minutes before we go move on to the next one, just so you can get the gist.
All right, let's see.
Yeah, any cold spots on your end, Justin? Anything weird? We had some weird cold spots last night.
Oh, really? Not yet.
That kind of sounded like palm tree, maybe. How many doors are on the back side of the bar?
Dude, let's go over here. We'll go over here towards the barn.
What is the barn being used as now?
Keep walking so I can look for cold spots. Here, hold on. Stay right there.
Why are there bars on the barn windows? What street is the barn on? How many rooms are inside the barn?
Let's go over that trash.
All right, coming.
Alright, did you catch anything now? Did it slow down a little bit?
More indescribable words?
Okay.
Maybe you'll figure that out later.
Well, I'll have to listen to that. So, again, the only recording I'll have is from his audio. That's why I said if the two of you stay somewhat close together, I'll be able to pick up that audio as you guys are doing your thing together.
Yeah.
So, I did get the name Dawn, so I'll have to definitely dive into that.
That's my middle name.
D-O-N.
Oh, Don? No, Dawn.
So
Dawn?
I'll have to definitely see if there was a teammate named Don. Again, I'm not a football guy, so I have to look this stuff up, and I learn stuff every night. So just as another example, the other night I had the number 44 come up in this lot, and I was like, all right, that's a number. Obviously could be a jersey number. I go straight to the roster for the 47 Giants. Frank Reagan died on November 20th, the same date as my tour. Number 44, punter, and then the word snap came up, which I guess is a term for punting, right? Or you get the snap to punt. Does that make sense to you guys, for you football fans? Sorry, I should be asking you. I'm looking at the fellas. So, yeah, it all made complete sense at that point. So, let's go learn some real history. Did you get anything else up there?
No, in that same spot, I just went back to see if it was active still, and it is right there in that
Is it?
spot. Yeah, all five
Which is
lights.
weird. Because it will move. Like last night, I had this weird cold spot moving around here. Like we had all the thermometers out and the camera, and we couldn't find like where a pinpoint was. So it was just a matter of like we literally had to follow it. with our thermometers to see where it was at, and we couldn't find the location of source. So really cool stuff. All right, let's go learn some real history. We're gonna head over here.
A lot of heat on these fences. The fence.
What's that?
The fence is like heat.
Yeah. Well, it's made out of cement concrete, so
Yeah.
it's going to hold on to the sun from the day.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I mean, the sun just went down at 5:30.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, all right, let's get you guys out of the driveway because it's the only way in and out. We don't make ghosts on this tour. We find them. So, I know I take you to all the prettiest spots. Look at this gorgeous parking lot, everybody. So this is home to Eliza and Charles Pinckney. So who the heck were they? They had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. The son and the nephew were signers of our Constitution. Pretty big deal for Charleston. The son was obviously raised here. I hate politics and it's 2020. Let's move on. So I know you're wearing an American flag right now, but that's okay. So wait, you and I are just clashing the whole time. So, where was I? So this is, again, the baked beans breakfast. This is where that occurred. So Eliza got married at 22. I told you guys that earlier. It's normally a question I ask for you guys to find the answer to on your spirit boxes, but kind of give you a gimme. So if you hear the number 22 later, you'll be listening for it. But she got married at 22 because her dad over in England thought he was dying and he wanted all his kids home and she didn't want to go. So she got married and became a citizen and stayed here. So dad got better, obviously. He started sending gifts over. Now the layout of this whole lot was the mansion in the front. Eliza's garden was lined up with that tree and came all the way across, and we're standing where the servant quarters would have been. So one of the gifts that Dad sends over, she was a botanist because of her garden, was the plant indigo. You guys have been driving around town, you guys have probably seen the word indigo a few times. I'm sure there's a couple indigo streets, the Indigo Inn, Indigo Alley, all of those things. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Okay, we still use it today. Pretty big deal. So, you heard something.
No. I don't know. I can't understand it.
It's okay. You'll get the gist of it by the end of the night. You watch. So, indigo was a big deal, obviously with Eliza, but we also had a Gullah culture with indigo already, which means the slaves that we brought over from Africa already knew how to cultivate this plant. That was a pretty big deal because Pinckneys owned slaves that came from the Gullah culture, which means Eliza used her slaves to help make this plant profitable. She used Daddy's contacts overseas to start selling the plant and the crop. And that was also after our rice plantation was starting to go downhill. So she pretty much saved Charleston and the colonies at that point. We're talking 1700s. There's no such thing as a businesswoman in the 1700s. So the fact that she was able to do that, pretty huge deal. Now, a couple weird facts about Eliza you guys can be asking on your spirit boxes. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. Way to go, Chuck. Back to back, no less. So Eliza, both of them actually, went by Eliza blank Pinckney. So try to find out what their maiden name was. So again, it does come up often. I'm only giving you questions that I've gotten the answer to on multiple occasions. You can ask anything you want to about Eliza's death, how she died, how old she was, what she died from, where she buried, any of those things, including which U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral. I know, she was that important. Pretty cool stuff. You can ask what happened to the mansion. You can ask what the daughter's name was. They did have 4 children. I'm going to ask you to stick to the daughter only, please. If you start talking about the other kids, there's one in particular that will end all activity for us for the rest of the night. It's almost a guarantee. Please do not poke around. The rest of your tour will be dead, no pun intended. I had somebody test that theory the other night. They literally had no evidence after the red barn line. So, I'll tell you about it maybe later on or after your tour. Okay, so let's keep the activity going. Marty, if you take notice of the flashing light on the back of 5 Church, should go in sync with your EMF meter. It's the energy that's pouring out of here and affecting that very weak light over there. That light does not always blink. Sometimes it's not always on, sometimes it's just on. I never know what I'm getting, but it's also the barometer that I use of how much activity we're going to get out of it. That's what that means. That means we're going to have a lot of activity. Now, I will tell you, weekdays are probably my highest activity nights. Fridays and Saturdays, this is a hustling and bustling city. It's not as active, okay? It's Sunday. It's pretty slow out here. Expect some activity out of your spirit boxes. If you don't hear anything, it's fine. I'm going to be able to check on that stuff in the morning. I'm going to do my own little EVP session. I already showed you guys the video. It occurred up there in the right corner. I do want you guys to be watchful of homeless. I don't see any. Is there? Okay. Now, cops have been really good about getting them out of here. And they even give me the hats off when they do scoot them out of here. So they realize I'm a tour guide and I'm trying to keep you guys safe. So just kind of be wary of when you're going towards the front of that line. I don't want to say that they're harmful, but they will scare the hell out of you and get a little grumpy. So we'll just say that. Oh, look at that. It says protocol. So you guys all heard the breakfast EVP. I don't have to replay it. So again, I want you guys to go explore in the same teams that you were just in. Nice slow movements from you, side to side. Keep listening. Maybe switch off for a little bit. See if you can hear things out of it. She's still having trouble. And it's okay to intermix tools within your parties too. So that's why I kind of gave you a good mix on your side. I got the word egg and mill. That's interesting. Don't think it's anything relevant to what we're looking at, but that one, those words together. Alright, so I do want to see where the spirit boxes go so I can go in the opposite direction because I'm going to do my own little EVP section on my record. So, where do you think you two are going to head?
We'll go this way.
Alright.
Okay, so what was one of the questions?
It was about Elijah.
Eliza.
Eliza.
And how old?
Her maiden name we're trying to figure out.
Okay. So, what was Eliza 1's maiden name? Something Delta Spirit? That was very clear.
Delta Spirit?
Delta Spirit.
Really?
Man, he gave us a lot of questions, but I don't remember. What kind of plants did Eliza plant in her garden? Man, it said something, but I couldn't hear it.
Keep asking her.
What kind of plants did Eliza plant in her garden?
What day did she die?
What was the date that Eliza died? Or the number 4. I'm not sure what that is. It's definitely not 22. Or she died at 22. We don't know the date, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, well, her the number 4.
Okay.
They said she had a daughter. There was one daughter.
I don't remember.
Okay, let's see. Why did Eliza not go back to England?
Uh-oh. You want to try this?
Sure. How did Eliza die?
What is Eliza's middle name? Not like me. What is Eliza's favorite plant? What is Eliza's favorite flower? What day did Eliza die? hot.
Very hot.
Is Eliza here? Yeah. Well, that was a weird sound. What is Eliza's middle name? What's Eliza's maiden name?
Do you keep saying Elijah? It's Eliza.
Eliza.
Okay.
What's Eliza's favorite plant? I'm out of questions. I don't know what else to ask. What was Eliza's daughter's name?
Ask that again.
What was Eliza's daughter's name? What was Eliza's daughter's name? What was Eliza's favorite color? I thought her time hearing it too. I don't know what else to ask.
How old was Eliza's daughter when she died?
How old was Eliza's daughter when she died?
Whoa. It was definitely... What did that say? Sounded like it said 10, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping that that's not
What are we
true.
finding out? Any answers?
I'm running out of questions.
Okay. What have you asked so far?
Oh, I've asked what was Liza's maiden name or middle name?
Middle name and maiden
And
name.
maiden.
We asked both.
And we asked what kind of plant or what kind of, because she was a planter, what kind of plants she planted.
What was her favorite color?
Okay.
Yeah. We asked about their daughter.
Okay.
What her name was and how old she was when she died. Which it sounded like it said 10, and I really hope that's not true.
No.
Some weird.
So are you asking like the same question repetitive times?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I've literally gone through 3 questions in the time we've been away. That's it. Because I'll keep asking the same question.
Okay, so just keep asking the same
Yeah,
then.
you just rephrase it. So, but again, just give them time to muster up the energy to actually find the right term to give you the answer. And you might have moved on to another question, but you might get the daughter's name and be like, that doesn't make any sense. And it's, oh, wait, I did ask what her daughter's name was. So it just, she's trying to come up with the energy to find or the right term to be able to give you.
Right.
So again, it's not going to be perfectly timed. Now, sometimes it is right away.
Right.
Other times it's like we might be halfway down the block and all of a sudden the name comes up.
Yeah.
It happens.
Okay.
You just can't time it. It's not a conversation like what you and I are having right now.
Yeah.
It's
Sure.
literally pestering her until you get the damn answer out of her. So
Got it.
What was Eliza's middle name?
Her maiden name was the one we're supposed to be asking.
What was Eliza's maiden name?
Ooh, what was Eliza's father's last name?
What was Eliza's father's last name?
maiden name of Eliza? What is it?
What about, what president was a pallbearer at her funeral?
What president was at the funeral of Eliza? It'd be easier if I remembered all the presidents.
Oh my gosh. Here, switch me. I don't like this. Okay.
There you are. I like looking at you. He's gonna hear our audio.
What former president was a pallbearer at Eliza's funeral?
I can't hear it.
What president was a pallbearer at Eliza's funeral?
Did you see anything when you were looking at this?
No. What kind of plant did Eliza like to plant in her garden?
Get this one.
How old was Eliza's daughter when she died?
Who was it that we're not supposed to ask about? Or we're not asking about them?
We're not asking about them.
Yeah.
How old was Eliza's husband when he died?
Did you forget? Ask him about the president again.
What former president went to Eliza's funeral?
What? So what year was this? 1700s, right?
1700s?
Yeah, so who was all the presidents back then? Abraham Lincoln? And like around him, right? That was 17 something, right? Or was he 18?
I think he was 1800s. So
Oh.
that's gonna be one of the first ones, like Thomas Jefferson.
Oh,
Thomas
yeah.
Jefferson.
Yeah, so when was George Washington the first president? It was 1750
Well,
something.
we became a country in 1776.
Yeah.
So after that, what was Eliza's husband's occupation? Sounded like I heard the word beautiful. I'm not sure what question that answers, but was Eliza considered a beautiful woman in her time?
I want to know the president.
What president was a pallbearer at Eliza's funeral? What number president was a pallbearer at Eliza's funeral?
Damn
I
good
heard
question.
George Bush.
You are actually half right.
Really?
So, what other president was named George?
Washington.
Washington.
Yeah. Really?
Washington.
No kidding.
Washington. You got
We
the
were
name
tr-
George.
We were trying to figure out the timeline. We were like, okay, our presidents, let's see. George Washington was the first. We became a country in 1776, so it's got to be either him or the next one.
Yep. It was Washington.
Huh.
And I've had EVPs here that come out, George Washington.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
clear.
really?
That's how I found out about it. I had no clue.
Oh,
Again,
yeah.
I have to research this stuff in the morning. So when
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hear like George Washington, I'm like, okay, that's kind of close to the timeline. Let me take a peek.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, Eliza Pinckney's pallbearer, George Washington.
That's crazy.
Crazy shit, right?
Huh.
So while asking about the mansion, what we've heard was in the Grove, Baby Stop, Uptown, Rogers, and Priest.
Okay, so we probably need to stop here. Go ahead and turn yours down. So, first off, none of those really relate to what happened to the mansion. What have happened at the mansion. So, the mansion caught fire in the Great Fire of 1861, which was long after Charles and Eliza's death. So it was still in the family. And the reason why I go up to that corner is because it happened on the second story. The Great Fire of 1861 took out quite a bit of the neighborhood. Yeah. So again, that was what happened to that mansion. However, the children that I asked you not to speak of, she wants to bring it up anyway. I'm going to tell you that one of them did not make it past infancy. So baby, stop. Makes sense. I don't know how old this infant was. Could have been days or weeks because the birth and death date are in the same month. So I don't know how old this baby was. So the answers to the other questions, we got half of one figured out. And again, just kind of like Black Belt, what I told you earlier, we heard George Bush over here, and George Washington was our president that was the pallbearer at her funeral.
Oh, wow.
And I've had George Washington come through as a full EVP in the past, which is how I learned about it. So again, I'm gonna take that. Like that's pretty solid. So I know it's half right, but she wanted to give us George, so she gave us George Bush instead. She died at the age of 70 from breast cancer in Philadelphia, which is also where she's buried. So if that kind of tells you she's communicating with us down here, she's hanging out where her home was. This is where she loved to be. So she is buried in Philadelphia. Charles, on the other hand, is buried over at St. Philip's because he was a resident, primary resident from here, whereas she was not. So even if she was buried here in Charleston, she would be on the opposite side of the grave, on the opposite side of the street, because there's residents on one side, natives, so to speak, and then people that just lived here. So the daughter's name was Harriet. So I know that that's a lot to come up with, and it was Eliza Lucas Pinckney that planted the indigo, which, by the way, the cash crop did not happen all right here. It did get moved over to Smee Farm in Mount Pleasant. So this is not enough land to have a cash crop. This is just where it got started. The other Eliza was Eliza Lamb Pinckney. So I did ask questions based on how many people did I bring with me, which is a common question. I was waiting for one of you to turn around and say, I heard the number 6. So again, none of you did that. I often test it because the answer can go anywhere. Kind of like how I told you guys earlier, the answer can go to any of the 6 devices that can receive communication. None of you did that. However, I did get the word writing, and then I heard the word letters on the reverse spirit box right after that. So writing letters, Eliza and her daughter, they did write letters back and forth often, especially when Harriet's husband was sick. So I do have copies of those letters. So I will actually put a link to those again for you guys to check out. So again, that's relevant evidence. But again, I know what I'm looking for because I know what the history is. So I like when you guys come in without a blind eye and say, hey, what the heck's going on? George Bush, there's no way. So we'll kind of take that for what it's worth. So, did I ask you guys to look into anything else? You did get, what were those terms again? So we got baby stop. Does that
Baby Stop, the Green, in the Grove, Uptown, Rogers. It wasn't Rogers and Priest, it was Rogers, and then there was a space and then Priest.
Rogers Priest. So when I heard priest and baby stop is when I put the clues together about George, the infant son that didn't make it. She did name that
And
son.
I didn't even put it together when the baby step was the first one I heard, which was very faint, almost staticky, but I didn't even put it together that you had said about the other
Kids.
babies.
I know, I throw a lot of information at you guys on purpose because I want your wheels to be spinning. So, and then I see people cheating on their cell phones, like, who's the pallbearer? He's not looking. It's George Washington. I'm like, no, it wasn't. You're wrong. You know? You look that up. I actually challenged a little kid last night. He was, I don't know, maybe 10 or 11. And he come back with, she died of breast cancer. I'm like, yeah, where'd you figure that one out at? I don't know, it just kind of came to me. And he had the EMF meter. And I'm like, yeah, you didn't just figure that out. Like, there's no way. My daughter was with me last night. She's 14, and she knows all these stories pretty well, so she slipped it in his ear. I'm like, yeah, way to go, London. All right, so we're going to go up East Bay Street about 4 blocks. I want you to definitely keep filming. The EMF is going to go crazy because of the parking meters. You can almost ignore it. Definitely no lasers on East Bay Street. By all means, keep listening to your spirit boxes. We are listening for names. So I'm not going to tell you which names or why until we get to our location. But questions, comments, concerns, is this what you all signed up for? I know I asked you guys that already. So again, I try to make this as different as possible. It's not
William.
What did you hear?
William.
It's not a William connected to here.
William By or William. I couldn't understand the second part. It faded out. William something.
So we are, what, about an hour and 10 minutes in? I'll check the audio. Yeah, an hour and 11
Does William
minutes.
tell you when it's 2 hours?
What's that? No, it's for a timestamp for me to find out what the name was.
Oh, yeah,
So,
William.
Oh, okay.
So I usually, because that gets started roughly about 5 minutes after I start your audio. So then I know
Oh, okay.
when to look for it, because it doesn't record any of us. It's only recording the suite.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
we have no idea. I have to look for the windows of where we were.
Johnny just came through.
Johnny. I did get a James earlier when I was standing back here, which could have been one of the servants, but there's no list of those servants, unfortunately. So I try to stay away from there because I can't prove it. Anyway, it's definitely a mask-up area if there's any restaurants outside. So again, they're offering those tickets. I'm not going to pay yours. You're not going to pay mine. By the way, is my vape bothering anybody? I know I've walked away and vaped away from you guys. I told you I'm not traditional.
You
so,
used it as a prop for the laser.
I know, right? So my silent partner, who kind of recruited me away from my regular day job to do this full time, he's like, you can't vape on the tours. I'm like, oh shit, I can't vape on the tours. He's like, it's my tour. I was like, if I'm going to use it for the laser, how else am I supposed to show it? He's like, great, we're going to get bad reviews because you were smoking on your tours. I'm like, we'll be just fine.
Can you hear it?
Yep.
You getting any names?
People pay attention to it. Not the 90 minute cutoff, guys. You're done. If you get hell's bells, I need to know. Because then we can move on.
Look at the car. The wheels are all hot. Look at that. The tires. Isn't that crazy? Outside of the car was fine with the brakes and the tires were hot. Oh. I want to do some walking through some hospitals. That'd be fun.
My youngest does. My oldest is 20. So she's living her life already. Doing her own thing. So my youngest.
Here, she kept
Half
running
the stuff you guys were
very
holding used to
clearly.
be hers.
Oh, really?
So when I left my day job and came to do this, I took her stuff back. I said, Dad's got a new idea.
Don't forget.
What time? What time is it? Let's document it, right?
8:04.
Oh,
Oh, we're 109 in.
So yeah, we walked away from 6 still in school, right? I finished up my master's degree in 5 months.
Kept running.
Creative writing. So I have a bachelor's in English, a bachelor's in journalism, and then I'm going to go, hopefully, if I get accepted into a PhD program that'll allow me to study paranormal. So when I'm done, I'll be a doctor of ghosts. Literally. So
Hi, Cotton.
there isn't. That's why they're debating on letting me into this program. Because it's a PhD in creativity, where you get to pick your dissertation. And you need to be in your field. So all the stuff you guys are recording is basically my application video. So I keep track of how many hours, how many pictures were taken, you know, all of that kind of stuff to show that look, I'm out
Sounded
here
like
every day.
Smith.
Smith?
She heard kept running.
I heard, yeah, when we were passing somewhere back there. We said the time.
Is that kept running?
Yeah.
Because I have the word kept on my,
Really?
yeah, second word down. I just got it when we were over by the open air market.
Yeah.
That's where it showed up for me. There we go, gas station. Yeah. So Emily, this is the alley coming up right here. So when we get there, we'll get some pictures before we all walk down there.
Oh, there's a loose rock there.
That's where you should go to the restaurant right here. At this point, we're looking for like orbs and light anomalies and kind of things like we have in that. No, that's the next one. I'll get to that. Perfect for the horse there, Marty. Perfect for the horse.
I did. Yeah, I did. Thought it was a cool looking alley we were walking down.
No, you should be taking pictures. Any words on your end besides the word kept running?
And Smith.
I'm going to look that one up now. So this is Lodge Alley. This is actually one of the oldest streets of Charleston. One second, I want to see if Smith is well. I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived out. So that's why I told you guys to listen for names. I do get common names. Those are Benjamin and John. So when they show up together, it's just not ironic that they're together because they were only 2 out of the 4 residents that lived here in 1801. So the fact that they're at the same time, but you said you got the name Smith, so I want to see if there was Smith that was here. 1 second.
Probably.
That one, you'd be surprised.
Huh.
Again, there wasn't many people. No Smith. Okay. Again, just wanted to see if it was relevant.
Was there a York?
No. So, again, one of the oldest streets in Charleston. You can see it's just wide enough for a horse and carriage, basically. Again, picture Charleston as a peninsula right now. All the outside stuff is all junk that we have added to it. And the buildings that you see down there wouldn't have been there during the years that this place was a residency. So, the smell of low tide would have been blown right through here. So if you never smelled low tide, good for you.
Yeah.
I live here, it sucks. But at any rate, it wouldn't have been a very pleasant place to live with low tide coming through at least once a day. So they did do an archaeological dig in between the clay bricks that you guys were walking and tripping over and walking very carefully. They did find some of their clothing, some of their tools, their silverware, and they were able to classify these people as low class. The names, I do get Benjamin and John, as I said, but there are like 4 Johns that have lived here in between 1790 and 1855, so it's hard to decipher which one it is. But when I get Benjamin and John together, it makes sense because they were only 2 out of the 4. Masons used to meet down here, so this place has a lot of history, a lot of history. I do get weird light anomalies, that's why I asked Emily to take some pictures. You will be the last one out to take pictures going the opposite direction. I have caught some shadow figures in here. I have weird cold spots that shouldn't be there with the thermal imaging camera. And again, I can't guarantee that these things are going to happen. It's just basically what we're looking for. As we kind of pass through here, and the names is when they pop up, I don't tell you Benjamin and John preemptively. Let's just say, hey, it just said Ben. You know, it's still another form of Benjamin. Trying to think. Again, with the lights anomalies, all that stuff goes to my wife. So she's the one that's able to say, oh, what's going on? If you're taking cell phone pictures and you have stuff in those pictures that you can't figure out what it is, your camera did something weird that it doesn't normally do, which normally happens here and the next alley, by all means send it to me, but also send me what type of phone you're using. My wife, her day job, other than working for me with graphic design, she is the cell phone manager for Best Buy. So she knows every cell phone, she knows every camera on the cell phones because her major is photography. So again, she knows your cameras better than you do. So if I can say, hey, it's from an iPhone 11 or whatever it is, sorry, I'm not an Apple person, but then she can say, oh, that happens because of the shutter that did this during the light that was here. So she'll be able to determine what is actually going on with your picture.
Should I be using the little laser thing right now, or there's no laser right now?
So as long as it's pointed down, you'll be fine. But again, there's people that live up in here. Now this is a hotel that you guys are living on now. This is Lodge Alley Inn. So there are people obviously in the room right now. This is supposed to be a quiet area, just like the signs above your head. Pretty quiet area. I know. I think it's a quiet area up on the chat. But they all have claims of bursts. Every hotel around here. None of them give me free rooms to verify them. So look them up. So I'm going to say that. I have had blue-green people on my tours that work for Lodge Alley, and they do say that room 304 is completely haunted, and if I can get up there, I can do an investigation. But again, they're not willing to give me a free room. So again, I got to eat too, so I got to keep that podcast going at the stream of video. But yeah, we are going to walk through here. Definitely listen to your spirit boxes some more. It sounds like Marty's really getting into his for sure. He's speaking up all kinds of things. So we'll see what else we can get out of it. The EMF is usually dead down here. So if you do get something, it's pretty exciting. Now that's what I still call a rhythm, because it's just staying on a certain light. That is from the hotel behind you. Somebody is actually in there, their stuff is plugged in, the lights are on, so forth and so on. The lasers, when we do get outside the alley, is a residential area. It's a no.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Outside here, over there.
Outside here. We're going to continue on. Emily, yeah, take as many pictures as you want. Somewhat of a heel on, so I'm going to turn a flashlight so you can see, because it gets pretty dark. Sorry, I notice weird things. I just want to make sure everybody's safe through the whole thing. Like last night, I walked through Philadelphia Alley, the alley we're going to next, and nobody does what I do here in town. Like, nobody does all of this type of stuff. But the tour guide basically said, guys, I can feel the orbs here. Take pictures. I can feel them. They're everywhere. Dude, you can't feel orbs. Like, my group just looked at me and they're like, really? Like, I told you, the other tours, like, they're good. They're great for stories, but that's good. And I had a large group. Like, it was a group of 8, and they all turned and looked at me and kind of chuckled. And I said, I told you, I don't put my feels into this. It's all about the data. Yeah.
4 points?
We're not near it, but it does mean something down here. There are 4 points of law down here. That will be, I'm never over there. I'm trying to remember what buildings they are. It is literally right in the center of Charleston, 4 points of law. There's a government building on every corner. So they call it the 4 points of law. Steady right there. I don't think I've ever seen it do anything outside the alley. Alright, get some pictures. She's still snapping. Should have known to give it to a photographer. I'm gonna have 3,000 pictures of them. Not create ghosts and let the car go by.
The wolf.
Huh?
The wolf.
Oh, you heard the wolf?
Hiccup.
Yeah. Look.
Alright, so we're gonna do the touristy thing. Give you guys some good picture spots. So from where I'm standing, you got the creepy tree, the moon, which is a little cloud cover, and some sort of steeple. So if you get the horizontal picture out, you have a really cool picture once the moon comes back out again. Might be a few minutes. We can come over this way.
We're going to find it.
Do what? Going to find it?
Going to find it.
I like it. Now it's starting to poke out a little bit. Sorry, all the photos that I take are for marketing, so I know where all the good hot spots are, so I know what to put up on my social media for this. A lot of times it depends on the phase of the moon, but it'll be a lot closer to St. Philip's on a good cloudy night. It looks amazing. Alright, so let's get everybody closer this way now we got some pictures out the way. So we're about to walk through Philadelphia Alley. So this is the dual story, so you may want to listen up. Alright, so this used to be called Dueler's Alley. So as in take 20 paces, turn and shoot kind of duels. And before that it was called Cow Alley, because this is where the city of Charlestown kept all of their livestock. So cows, chickens, sheep, whatever they had, that was in there. But we all tell the same story of the duel that occurred. I tell the story out here because it's a very popular ghost tour stop, and it is their big finale. Again, they don't like me much because I take their business. So I tell the story out here, and then we just cut right through it. Okay, so, where am I? So, there was a doctor that moved down here from Rhode Island. Keep those initials in mind, R.I. from Rhode Island, because it does come up again later. So he was supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Keep in mind, I'm giving you verbal clues for your spirit boxes. So Amanda was supposed to inherit a bunch of money from her deceased parents, and the attorney handling that money said, "You're not getting married yet, send the doctor away." So the doctor moved to Charleston. He rolls into town, and the coachman that brings him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. Not a very good start to his stay here in Charleston. He's going to prove that he's not just after Amanda's money. But somebody walking by sees that he's all set up and he's going to get killed. His name is Ralph Isaacs. So initials R.I. So again, it comes up again later. So Ralph says, "You don't want to stay here. Let me take you somewhere else, get you somewhere safe." So he takes him over to 59 Church Street, which is about 1.5 miles from here. So that's on the same street as the big steeple that you guys see, just that far away. So anyway, and it's called the Thomas Rose House now. It has a lot of history. But he rents the room upstairs, and his practice starts to take off while he's here. So he's making lots of money. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor because that means Amanda's going to be moving down soon, and he's going to get married. So he proved his point. And him and Ralph became really good friends. Ralph is from Charleston. So, but the doctor, because his practice took off, he's part of a different part of society now. So he gets better seats and better tickets when they go see plays. And it's like going to the movies, but you can't sit next to your best friend because they make more money than you and they're the jerk. So they talk about these plays on the way home. They go see Richard III one night. I don't know which theater, and no tour guide can tell you or confirm that it was Dock Street Theater. There were dozens of theaters here during that time period. And I will also tell you, just a little sidebar, Edgar Allan Poe's mother would have been an actress that used to travel through Charleston during the same time period. So, just, sorry.
He was stationed here.
He was stationed in Sullivan's Island. Correct. And Annabelle Lee is buried at Unitarian Church, which is about another mile up further in
Annabelle Lee is Edgar Allan Poe's
Love, right.
Oh, okay.
So her grave is hidden. Sorry, we're getting off the dueling story, but Annabelle Lee, her grave is hidden because her father did not want Edgar to find her after she died. So if you know the poem, she died with pneumonia or by the sea and all of that, and she was buried here in Charleston because that's where she was from, and he was stationed at Sullivan's Island. He actually registered under the name Edgar A. Perry. So he never talked about his time in the military. But anyway, back to the doctor. So they're talking about Richard III. They're talking about the play on the way home. The doctor loves the new actress in town. I don't know who it was. Ralph did not like her. They start arguing. Then Ralph starts insulting his fiancée back home. So he becomes the jerk, right? So the two obviously get pissed off at each other. They go their separate ways. I told you Ralph was from Charleston. He calls his friends over at the newspaper and says, I need to put an ad in the paper. It says that the doctor's a disgrace to the city of Charleston. He's not one of us. He's not from here. He charges us too much money. Yada, yada, yada. What happens is the doctor receives this and rebuttals with, let's go to Dueller's Alley and settle this. Now, we as ignorant Americans, when we think of a duel, we normally think that death is going to occur, right? Someone's going to get shot. Normally, when you go to a duel, it's that you're willing to take a bullet for whatever you're fighting for, okay? It's courage and bravery. When there was a death, we'd have a doorway for that. So everybody see the doorway in the far wall? The dead guy would get picked up, taken through that courtyard. Sorry, Michelle, you're short. Through the courtyard, over to the cemetery. And they would drop the body in the cemetery and then go celebrate the winter. That's kind of how it went down. But here's what happened with the doctor. So him and Ralph come down, they take the 20 paces, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air, and he's shot. He didn't want to kill his friend, just wanted to make a point. But he was willing to take a bullet, and he did. Ralph shot him in the kneecap. He didn't want to kill his friend either, but he wanted to make his point. So the doctor drops, and he didn't die. He didn't go through the death gate. He was carried home to 59 Church Street, where he died 10 days later. Infection. Yes, and he was a doctor. Find the irony in that. So, what's the moral of the story? Don't get engaged to Amanda. You're going to die. No. So, they say as you walk through here, you can hear the whistles of the doctor. Now, it's always this quiet back here, day or night. We do have a lot of hecklers here. They do it all the time. There's your fake one for your audio. So when you're listening to this on your drive home or wherever you're going, this is where you turn it up. I'm going to stay away from the spirit boxes so that way you guys have a nice clear audio when you're walking through here. I only have 2 that I've been able to not debunk from hecklers by. So it's going to be a melodic whistle. The funny thing is last night I'm going through their evidence this morning and I heard whistling on the spirit box. So take that for what it's worth. It is what it is. The whistling doctor. You can Google that and hear a very long, detailed version of the story. I'm just giving you enough for your spirit boxes. They also say you can hear gunshots down here. I'm going to call BS on that one. I've never caught a gunshot down here. A little bit of history before we move on. The bricks you're going to walk on have been renewed and refreshed up here in the 1990s. The ones down there have not. Because those were sun-dried bricks from slave kids. Their fingerprints, and we have one full handprint, are in those bricks. I will point them out to you. If you want pictures, you're going to have to be quick because I'm going to keep moving. That's outside somebody's home, and he's very grumpy, and will try to come out and say that the handprint that's in the brick was put in there in 2001. They are in 3 different places where these slave bricks and sun-dried bricks are in Charleston. Drayton Hall here, and I can never remember what the third one is. But when you guys take a look at that handprint, keep in mind the thumbprint goes over to the next brick. If you play it out in your head how this poor kid did this, he put that brick in wet and then slammed his hand into it and his thumb overlapped into the next brick. Kind of a screw you, I don't want to do this anymore. And it's a small handprint. So take that for what it is. Don't pay any attention if that guy comes out of his house and say, those are fake. So it's real history, I promise you. So again, if you want those pictures, by all means.
You said no lasers here.
You could do lasers in here. If we're going to pass through another tour, spirit boxes down, lasers off, masks up. That's the only thing I'll ask. I'm going to keep my second spirit box down, like I won't even turn it on so you have a clearer audio. Hopefully airplanes aren't going to interfere. But pictures galore in here. It is the prettiest place in Charleston. If you can take pictures in here, I'll point out some really cool pictures for you guys. As long as it's empty. If it's empty, take pictures both ways. It's gorgeous. Trust me, day or night, it doesn't matter. I'm sure you can attest to that too. So, I'm going to get you a creepy sound effect with the gate, and then we're going to walk through. Nice. I'm going to go left. If you guys can see the death gate, it's to the right. but I'm going to keep moving to the left and then wait for you guys to catch up. You want a picture of the gate?
This is cool.
Lock you in.
It's pretty neat. Smile. Listening to stuff. Selfie. What if we just saw like a man standing there? That'd be creepy. So this is where they did all the duels, huh?
That was a long story.
We listen for whistling too.
Where did the doctor get shot?
Where did the doctor get shot?
How many days later did the doctor get shot?
Did he die? That's
Oh,
it.
did he die? Yeah. How many days later did the doctor die after being shot?
Say 10?
It sounded like 10.
You sure did, didn't it? Kind of weird.
Remember I also heard the word 10 earlier?
Yeah.
So the custom house probably comes in the slave market. They were sold on the steps and outside the cabins, and then they went over to the slave market, whoever was left over. And a lot of times there was a notification of just a, I'm sure you've seen those.
There's a ghost coming up here.
Healthy, strong males, very tall, two young boys, and those kind of things. There's a stock in the middle, so Emily looks pretty good.
Oh, here's another tour. Mask up.
Why did the doctor get shot?
What point was he trying to prove?
What was the doctor's name?
Where is it?
The fingerprints are here, and then they go all the way through.
Oh, yeah.
So why hasn't the state done something to preserve this? These are that old and they get the fingerprints. Like, that would be something that everyone would put in.
Oh, yeah.
that way.
What was the doctor's name?
That's a good question. Oh, sorry.
There's the handprint now for you guys.
Oh yeah.
So you can see it's worn down from everybody sliding their hand in it.
What was the doctor's name? Why did the doctor and his friends have a duel?
What year did you say? Yeah,
Your answers could come out on his or his.
right.
Yeah.
You hearing anything?
She's been asking all
I'm
kinds
not,
of
no,
questions.
but I've been asking a bunch of questions, but I'm not getting anything, so.
She did ask about the days. How long was, what'd you ask? When it
How-
said 10?
Yeah, how long did it take the doctor to die?
It very obviously said 10, like loud.
Wow.
It was weird.
Good. See, that makes sense. We'll take it.
Yeah.
Whitney
Were
goes,
you guys close?
I'm pretty sure that
Yeah.
said 10. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
was
both
like,
kinda
yeah, I
looked at
heard
each
it all the way
other.
over here.
One last building to check out, guys. So, not everybody talks about this building either. So we're going to be looking into the building from the front, but I tell the story back here so that way we can do our investigation along the way. So this is the Wagner building. So the Wagner building used to be a cotton warehouse. The last person who had it as a cotton warehouse, his name was George Poirier. George inherited the business from his dad, clueless, silver spoon kid, had no idea what he was doing. Needed to get out of the business. Blew through his inheritance, no money. Then we get the boll weevil in town. That's a bug that eats cotton, so now his crops are bad. So he doesn't want to sell it back to the Americans where his debts are. He decides he's going to sell off to the British for a cheaper price and just get out. So, again, Peninsula, Charleston is much skinnier. You can see that British ship roll up because on East Bay Street, you would have been able to see the wharves. So they unload from horse and buggy back here from these really cool garage doors that you guys see. Which is another reason why I stopped back here, so you can actually get that visual. And he's watching the whole thing from the second-story window. So as they load it up, somebody gets too close to the cotton with a pipe. The whole ship catches fire, everybody dies, George watches everything. So their online stories will tell you he was on the third story, he was the second story. That's based on all of the data that I do every single night. So what happens from there is that George is already depressed because his dad's gone, but now his father's legacy is gone. So now he kind of goes awry. He piles up all the furniture in his office, puts a captain's chair on the top, climbs to the top, swings a noose, and he hangs himself. Newspaper kid comes down the next morning to sell his papes, and there's a swinging corpse hanging in the second-story window. So they say you could see that shadow of the swinging corpse on the right night. Our camera cannot see through glass. You're going to be looking for those blue windows to turn darker blue or black, which means something is influencing it from the inside. So you're going to do nice slow sweeps along the second-story windows. Now,
This
that's
building.
Yeah,
In this
in the
building?
very front. So the back of it now is condos. In the front of it, they're turning into a wedding reception area. So good luck to those weddings because the place is haunted. So if you're newlyweds, don't have your reception here. We do get another ghost that tags along because it's the same time period. It's also relatively close. 2 blocks away from where we came out of the alley, which is 3 blocks from here, is Poogan's Porch. So Poogan's Porch is actually named after a dog. We're not going to have a dog right now. But it used to be the home of Zoe St. Amand. Zoe's descendants, like her ancestors, were part of the original Charleston people. They were French Huguenots, which helped start Charleston's religion. So she's a pretty big deal. She was a school teacher here in town, and she lived there with her sister Elizabeth. Zoe died in the home by falling down the stairs. They say, well, they don't say, they call the police when the lights start flicking around in the restaurant, because it's a restaurant now, from the hotel room across the street, because they can see it. Hey, somebody's inside that restaurant over there, and they call the police and there's nobody there. Happens all the time. So it's kind of like one of those 911 paranormal shows that you guys see. That's a real life thing that happens here. So Zoe, when you ask her what's going on, or you know that it's her, it's because she's going to give you things like educate, teach. You might even hear the word children, because she taught children. If you ask her what her house looks like now, she's going to tell you table, eat, fork, things wrapped around what you would do at a restaurant. Restaurant is a lot to muster, even through a spirit box, even though I have them slowed down. So again, restaurant is not something you're always going to hear. How do I know it's Zoe's, that specific Zoe? She spells her name Z-O-E, not Z-O-E-Y. That's the name I get probably twice a month on my spirit box. So, and it's usually as a word. So, who is Poogan? Just so you guys know the story of Poogan. Poogan was a stray dog that used to go to the construction crew that was transitioning Zoe's house into a restaurant, and they used to feed him. He used to hang out on a porch and wait for the crew to get there in the morning. And when he died, they built a memorial right on the front lawn, and the new owners decided to name the place Poogan's Porch. So, there's your story of Poogan's Porch. When you go there, they say you can see Zoe in the ladies' restroom mirror, or Poogan will pull on your pant legs while you're eating. So again, take that for what it's worth.
We should go eat there.
And I do get things, and the word mirror might come up too. So you're going to have at the top of your data page the list of all the apps that I use and all of the devices that you guys are using too. So yeah, I told you I got like 15 different streams of income. So, but at any rate, this way you guys know what you're using. But the apps, those free versions of all of them, take this one, open it, put it in the middle of the table, enjoy your lunch or dinner. See what happens. You never know. I use a paid version. It has 3 times, oh look, we finally got the word draft, which could also relate to when this was a brewery. The taps for draft beer would turn on by themselves all the time. So I'm going to take that as draft beer, not draft horses from the Red Barn lot, because we're not near there anymore, are we? So, pretty good stuff. I'll take it. That's the stuff that gets me excited. So when I can link it, that's what I want to hear.
Does Nathaniel mean anything in this area?
Not to my knowledge, but I can dive into it. It must mean something. If you've heard it that clearly.
Well, it was 2 different stations that carried it made it one fluid word. But it was like name, and then the second station was Daniel. So it kind of just blended right together perfectly.
Well, I wonder if it is.
Pink?
Did you say pink?
Pink.
Not pink. But
Very rarely do
Nathaniel-
I hear things very clearly on here.
But Nathaniel may have been the owner of the brewery. I'll have to dive into that. That's a very good.
So that's kind of weird because it took so long. It was multiple stations that just made it.
And those are the best types, because if it makes a full word or sentence because of a blurred station change, that's the best stuff to actually get. Last night I got plan for, and then I heard struggle. We were in Philadelphia, out. 2 different stations. Plan for, struggle. Male and female voice. Pretty cool stuff. I was like, hell yeah, we'll take that. It's good stuff. Oh, look at that, I got printed. Weren't we just talking about the attorney that printed in the newspaper, the big ad about the doctor? So, again, stuff can come later, just like I told you guys earlier. So, we never know what's going to come up. EMF is going to go crazy on East Bay, because of their things again. Definitely want some pictures of those second-story windows. We definitely want some camera. We definitely want you guys listening to your spirit boxes.
No laser.
No lasers. This is all residential. You're out of the gate.
Oh, this is?
Here,
Oh,
Shell.
okay.
Shell, put this to your floor.
Oh, no, I'm good. You're doing a great job with that. I probably won't hear anything. I'm here.
The nice thing about that one is that I'm going to check it in the morning too. But I am going to turn up mine and stay away from the other ones until I can get mine.
It was cold earlier, but not really.
Shirt's thin.
Mine is silk, and I'm in pretty thin pants too, so
These aren't keeping your little booty warm?
no. But I'm okay.
Dude, if we saw a cold image go past the window in this thing, that'd be crazy. There's a big old fountain down there. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
Second story pictures and thermal imaging over to the first two windows on the second story.
Are you gonna get up?
The fountain just came through.
So I just heard my name being taunted. I heard Nicholas, like real long. And I was like, holy snapples. So I'll have to definitely clip that one out and point it out for you guys. I normally don't listen to the regular audio, but that was really super clear. And I've never heard, like my name comes through often. I hear, you know, Nick, Nicholas, Nikki, any of those things. But that was a taunting. That was a hey, challenge me. That goes off to the crosswalk. And the reason why that goes off is because the electrical lines are on both sides. So it's strong enough to be able to touch this far away. While she's taking pictures, they're getting camera and listening to their spirit boxes. I'm going to take the lasers and the EMF. Go home now.
Did you?
Make it count.
You seeing anything weird on there?
Not yet. Not yet. I'm getting the windows in, you know, blue.
Yeah, so
hoping-
even when you kind of like sweep it side to side a little bit, you'll see how they kind of move in unison. So really what I look for there, because I blow this thing up on my TV the next day. So that's how I watch it, to see if I'm missing anything or if you guys miss something during the tour.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for something to really turn black really quick and then go right back to the blue.
Right.
And out of sync with the other ones if you move the wrong, you know what I mean? Because it should sway and you should be able to see the differences in it.
Girl and newborn need anything?
Not here. I'll take newborn back at the Pink Mansion site, especially with this baby stop crazy heater. Every once in a while, that kid will come up. It's like, damn it, Eliza, quit talking about him. Like, you're gonna mess up the rest of my night. Because I mean, that's literally what will happen. Is the whole activity will stop.
Turn around.
I've had people go across the street to capture more footage from over there using the cameras and just to get a better angle. All right, let me gather up the rest of these now that we have enough to kind of take a look at. I didn't get much on my spirit box on the way up here, so all one video. You're the man. You just made